is partial fractions case 3 natin. Partial fractions case 3. So, sa case 3, that is non-repeated, non-factorable quadratic factor. So, if the denominator contains a non-factorable quadratic factor, so that will fall under case number 3 ng partial fractions using integration. So, let us try to solve an example. So, let's have integral of dx over x squared plus 1. So, actually, this is a combination of case 1 because this x is a linear factor na hindi repeated, and you have x squared plus 1 which is a quadratic non-factorable quadratic factor. Non-factorable quadratic factor si x squared plus 1, so that will fall under case number 3. Kasi meron tayong factor on the denominator na quadratic and non-factorable. So, hindi siya naulit or distinct or non-repeated, distinct non-factorable quadratic factor. So, in that case, say for example, if I have here say q over ax squared plus bx plus c, which is a non-factorable quadratic factor, this is equivalent to a partial fraction a, that's an arbitrary constant, multiplied by the derivative of that denominator ax squared plus bx plus c, plus another arbitrary constant b over that denominator ax squared plus bx plus c. Since ax squared is of degree 2, so that must be equivalent to 2 arbitrary constants, provided that the first arbitrary constant must be multiplied by the derivative of this denominator. This is done because you are to make this first term ready para kay ln. So, para si a, pag nasolve mo ang value ng a, magiging lang itong du over u. And then you can solve for the value of b. Then you can use the basic integration technique that we have learned. So, basta meron tayong quadratic factor na non-factorable, it is equivalent to an arbitrary constant multiplied by the derivative of the denominator, the non-factorable quadratic factor, plus an arbitrary constant b over that particular denominator. So, let's have an example. So, we have here dx over x times the quantity x squared plus 1. So, since x is a linear factor, so we can equate that to a over x because that is simply a linear function or a linear factor, plus x squared plus 1 is a non-factorable quadratic factor x squared plus 1, which is equivalent to 2 arbitrary constants. So, since may a na, so this is equivalent to b and c arbitrary constants. So, this is b multiplied by the derivative of the denominator plus an arbitrary constant c. So, which gives a over x plus b multiplied by 2x over c x squared plus 1, because the derivative of x squared plus 1 is simply 2x. So, the multiplier of b here must be 2x since the derivative of x squared plus 1 is 2x. And then, since na-associate na natin siya into partial fractions, you are to multiply this by its LCD, x times x squared plus 1. So, multiplying that, so since meron ditong 1, so 1 here is equal to a multiplied by x squared plus 1 plus bx times 2x. So, again, multiply natin yon. So, may matitirang x squared plus 1 multiplied by a. And then, this multiplied by that x squared plus 1 cancels out. May matitirang x multiplied by that 2x plus c. This and that cancels out. May matitirang x times c is cx. So, this one is equal to a times x squared plus 1 plus b multiplied by 2x squared plus cx. So we can use method 2, equating coefficients. So using equating coefficient, the highest exponent appearing is x squared. So wala sa left side, so 0. You have 1 times a is a, you have 2 times b is 2b. Equation 1. For x, wala sa left side, so wala kay a, wala kay b, and then c. Equation 2. So therefore, c is 0. And then for constant, you have 1 is equal to a times 1 is a, wala kay b, wala kay c. Then a is equal to 1. Since a is 1, you can use this equation 1 to solve for the value of b. Since 2b is equal to negative a, then b is negative 1 half. Since a is negative 1 divided by 2. So b is negative 1 half. So having that solved, a is 1, b is negative 1 half, c is 0. Substituting it there, your integrand now becomes integral of a, which is 1 over x, plus b is negative 1 half multiplied by 2x plus 0 over x squared plus 1 dx. Since c is 0 and b is negative 1 half, you have that multiplier 2x there. So you need not to multiply this 2 by negative 1 half because ang aim natin kanina is to make this ready para kay ln. So this therefore is equivalent to dx over x. Simplifying, you have 1 over x times dx is dx over x. You have negative 1 half, so minus 1 half integral of 2x dx over x squared plus 1. And then you have 0 over x squared plus 1. So this is ready for ln. And that's ln of x minus 1 half ln of x squared plus 1 plus c. Or you can simplify that further by using Laws on logarithms plus c. So that therefore is our answer. So you can put an absolute value since wala naman tayong ln of a negative number. So ln of x over square root of, since this 1 half magiging exponent ni x squared plus 1, and x squared plus 1 raised to 1 half is square root, and since negative, so that must be quotient using properties of logarithms. So this must be the answer there. So ln of x over square root of x squared plus 1. So let us try to solve another problem. Example number 2. Let's have integral of dx over 1 plus x cubed from 0 to 1. So let's have that. So dx over 1 plus x cubed from 0 to 1. So factoring the denominator out, so that's 0 to 1 of dx over 1 plus x, 1 minus x plus x squared. So we have used a cubed plus b cubed is equal to a plus b, a squared minus the product of the two plus square of the second. So as you can see here, meron tayo ditong 1 minus x plus x squared as our non-factorable quadratic factor, and we have linear. So this is actually the same as same approach as example number 1. So meron tayong combination ng linear and case 1 and case 3. So this is 1 over 1 plus x, 1 minus x plus x squared is equal to a over 1 plus x plus b multiplied by the derivative of the denominator. So that is 2x minus 1 plus c over x squared minus x plus 1. So since the denominator can be rewritten as x squared minus x plus 1. So b times 2x minus 1 because the derivative of this denominator is 2x minus 1. So multiplying this by our LCD, 1 plus x multiplied by x squared minus x plus 1 gives 1 equals a x squared minus x plus 1 plus b multiplied by 2x minus 1, 1 plus x. Because this multiplied by that is 1 plus x times 2x minus 1 plus c multiplied by 1 plus x. So using equating coefficients by multiplying this first. So this is 2x plus 2x squared minus 1 minus x. So that's 2 times x is 2x. 2x times 1 is 2x. 2x times x squared is 2x squared. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times x is negative x. So that gives you 2x squared plus x minus 1 because 2x minus x is x. So you have 2x squared plus x minus 1. So highest exponent appearing is x squared. So you have 0 on the left. A is 1 times A is A. Then you have 2 times B is 2B. C, wala. Equation number 1. Equation number 2 para kay x. So, sa left side, wala. Negative 1 times A is negative A. I have used method 2, by the way. And then for for B is plus B. You have positive x times b. So my 1 na numerical coefficient times b is b. Then you have 1 na numerical coefficient times c is plus c. Equation number 2. And then for constant, you have 1 on the left side. 1 for letter A. For b is minus b. And then for c is another 1. So that's equation number 3. So if I am to subtract 2 and 3 para ma-eliminate si C, so subtracting, that's 2 minus 3. So equation 2 minus equation 3 gives 0 is equal to negative A plus B plus C. This is 1 equals A minus B plus C. So, equation 2, ito yon. Equation 3, ito yon. Then, subtract the 2. This positive change to negative. This negative change to positive. And this positive change to negative. And then, this becomes addition. So, 0... And by the way, this is positive becomes negative. So 0 plus negative 1 is negative 1 equals negative A plus negative A is negative 2A. Then B negative plus B is plus 2B. And then C cancels out. So this will serve as our equation 4. So combining equation 4 with equation 1. So I have here equation 1. Then subtract equation 2. So equation 1 here is 0 equals A plus 2B. Then isusubtract natin si equation 4 which is negative 1 equals negative 2A plus 2B. Subtracting the 2B cancels out. So this is 0 minus negative 1 is positive 1 equals 3A. Because this changed the sign of the subtrahend, so magiging 0 plus 1 is 1. Change the sign of the subtrahend, that's positive 2a plus a is 3a. Then 2b minus 2b is 0. Then a is 1/3. So having that solved, since a is 1/3, you can solve for b. So 2b is equal to negative a by transposing that a on the left side of the equation. Then a is 1/3, then b is negative 1/6, because 1/3 times negative 1 is negative 1/3 divided by 2 is negative 1/6. Then you can solve for the value of c. So c is a minus b. Transposing this a on the left becomes positive. Transposing that b on the left becomes negative. Then c is a minus b. But a is 1/3 minus negative 1 over 6. So since b is negative, so that's positive 6. By positive 1, 6. So 6 is LCD. So you have 2 plus 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2 times 1 is 2. Then 6 divided by 6 is 1 times negative is positive 1. So that's 3 over 6, which is 1/2. So C is 1/2, A is 1/3, and B is negative 1 over 6. Substituting to our partial fractions. So our integrand now becomes the value of A is 1/3, 1/3 over 1 plus x, plus b, which is negative 1 over 6, multiplied by 2x minus 1 over x squared minus x plus 1, and the value of c is 1/2 over x squared minus x plus 1. You have dx here. And then you have 1/3 integral of dx over x plus 1. That can be written that way. Minus 1 over 6. Remember, this is from 0 to 1. So 0 to 1. Integral of 2x minus 1 dx over x squared minus x plus 1 from 0 to 1. You have plus 1/2 integral of dx over x squared minus x plus 1. So this can be solved using integrals yielding inverse trigo by finding its or completing the square. This is x squared minus x. You have plus 1. So dividing this by 2, that's 1/2 raised to the second power. So I need to add 1/4, then minus 1/4. So this now is 1/3 ln of x plus 1 minus 1 over 6 ln of x squared minus x plus 1 plus 1/2 integral of dx over x minus 1/2 raised to the second power plus 3/4. So that's inverse trigo, that's arctangent, that's u square plus a square, where a is square root of 3 over 2. So simplifying, you have 1/3 ln of x plus 1 from 0 to 1. This is from 0 to 1. Minus 1 over 6 ln of x squared minus x plus 1 from 0 to 1. Plus 1/2. That's 1 over a. 1 over square root of 3 over 2. Arctangent of u, x minus 1/2 over square root of 3 over 2 from 0 to 1. So applying the limits, that gives you 1/3 quantity ln of 1 plus 1 is ln 2 minus ln 0 plus 1 is ln 1 minus 1 over 6 ln of 1 squared is 1 minus 1 plus 1 is ln 1 minus ln of 0 minus 0 plus 1 is also ln 1. So this therefore is 0. This 1/2 cancels out with that square root of 3 over 2. That 2 cancels out. So magkakaroon tayo ng 1 over square root of 3. Arctangent of upper limit is 1. So 1 minus 1/2 is 1/2 over square root of 3 over 2 minus arctangent of 0 minus 1/2 is negative 1/2 over square root of 3 over 2. So 0 minus 1/2 is negative 1/2 over square root of 3 over 2. Then this gives you 1/3 ln of 2. ln 1 is 0. plus 1 over square root of 3. Arctangent, 1/2 cancels out. So, magiging arctangent 1 over square root of 3. Minus arctangent of negative 1 over square root of 3. So, arctangent 1/3, 1 over square root of 3. So, what's arctangent of 1 over square root of 3? So, if I have here a 30-60 degree angle, so, meron ako ritong square root of 3, meron akong 1, meron akong 2. So, hypotenuse is 2, adjacent is 1. Okay, we have a triangle here, a 30 degree by 60 degree triangle. So, you have here the exponent, the hypotenuse 2, opposite to 60 is square root of 3, adjacent to 60 is 1. So, that's a special function or special angle 60-30 gamit ang circular functions. So, gamit si arctangent, so if arctangent 1 over square root of 3 is theta, then tangent theta is 1 over square root of 3. So by definition of tangent theta, that's opposite over adjacent. So opposite is 1, adjacent is square root of 3. In this particular triangle, 30 degrees, opposite 1, square root of 3, adjacent. So therefore, tangent 30 is 1 over square root of 3. So this gives you 30 degrees, which is pi over 6. So this is 1/3 ln of 2 plus 1 over square root of 3 multiplied by pi over 6 minus negative pi over 6. So arctangent of negative 1 over square root of 3 is negative 30 degrees then. So that gives you 1/3 ln of 2 plus square root of 3 over 3 times the quantity 2 pi over 6. This is minus is plus. So that's 1/3 ln of 2 plus, this is 1/3, that's square root of 3 pi over 9. So that's our answer. So let us try to check our answer. So ang given natin is integral of dx over 1 plus x cubed from 0 to 1. So that's 1 over 9 ln 8 plus pi squared of 3. Let us try to factor out 1 over 9 to get the answer. So factoring 1 over 9 out. So 1 over 9. So si 1/3, 1 over 9 to become 1/3 is 3. 1/3 divide 1 over 9, that's the common factor. That's 3 ln 2 plus square root of 3 times pi is pi square root of 3. And using property ng logarithm, pwede natin gawing exponent ng 2 yung 3. So this gives you 1 over 9 times the quantity ln 8 plus pi square root of 3. So that therefore is our answer. So which is the same as that of in this book. Okay. That's case number 3. So again, pag case number 3, multiply lang natin yung first arbitrary constant sa derivative ng denominator plus an arbitrary constant.